Good evening, YouTube. It's Halloween. It's late, though. All the little kiddies have finished trick or treating. They've all gone to bed. Mine has gone to bed. He ate a lot of sugar tonight, a lot more than normal, but hopefully it doesn't affect his sleep. We're back, and we're talking about Chapter 3 of Atomic Habits by James Clear. Today's video is going to be continuing with Chapter 3, and we're going to be pulling out two powerful ideas from the chapter. And we're going to be discussing those. I'm going to read a little bit from the book, and then I'm going to tell you my thoughts on it. So, getting into it, chapter 3, pages 46 and 47, it says, habits do not restrict freedom, they create it. In fact, the people who don't have their habits handled are often the ones with the least amount of freedom. Without good financial habits, you will always be struggling for the next dollar. Without good health habits, you will always seem to be short on energy. Without good learning habits, you will always feel like you're behind the curve. If you're always being forced to make decisions about simple tasks like when should I work out, where do I go to write, when do I pay the bills, then you have less time for freedom. It's only by making the fundamentals of life easier that you can create the mental space needed for free thinking and creativity. This, again, is a sentiment that I've heard from sources other than this book. If you listen to self help discipline podcasts, I guess, like Jocko Willink, I think that was a tagline, and I think he had a full merch line that said the words discipline equals freedom or freedom equals discipline, something like that. Um, I know Tom Bilyeu mentions it in the Impact Theory podcast. In fact, he has a whole course through the Impact Theory University that revolves around building discipline, ironclad discipline, I think he calls it. So, this is a huge thing. And I think that it, in my life, definitely applies every time that I have an issue with something I didn't get done that I should have gotten done, and I miss a deadline, or I you name it, I'm late for something. It's because I knew I had something to do and I didn't have the discipline to do it. Take planning, for example. Until recently, I never put any of my plans in a calendar, down on paper, or in a list, or any of that, because I wasn't disciplined enough to take the time to put my needs down on physical media, and then they get forgotten, you know? And that's why, as part of my journey to, get better, to be a better dad, be a better husband, be a better human, I kind of came to the conclusion that yes, I have to be disciplined enough to actually put my requirements, things I need to do, appointments and haircuts and stuff like that down in a calendar, either physically or digitally, so that everybody can see them and I can be held accountable to them, and so that I can be reminded of them as I go forward. I think that's a big area where discipline can have an effect in my life. Moving on to the second idea, though. This is about cravings. Cravings are the second step. They're the motivational force behind every habit. Now, goes on to say that what you crave is not the habit itself, but the change in state it delivers. You do not crave smoking a cigarette, you crave the feeling of relief it provides. You are not motivated by brushing your teeth, but rather by the feeling of a clean mouth. You do not want to turn on the television, you want to be entertained. And every craving is linked to a desire to change your internal state. This is definitely powerful for me. Cravings, in my opinion, have never been a positive thing. I've never had a kind of craving that was for a positive outcome. Every time that I was going to have a craving, or every time that I do have a craving, is for something like drinking alcohol, which, the more you learn about it, it isn't good for you, right? There's nothing good about it. It doesn't do anything good for you. And I've found that those cravings only ever apply to things that will not positively benefit me. I found that I actually have to enact discipline, our first point, to be able to overcome those cravings and actually push the ball forward in a positive direction. Every time that I succumb to a craving, it's just putting me back, you know. So I always feel like, in my opinion, or in my experience, a positive craving is more like an idea and the application of will. I don't know how that translates for you guys. Let me know in the comments what you think of that idea. But knowing what a craving is based on the text, it is kind of true. To give the example of alcohol again, every time that I have a craving to drink something alcoholic, it's not the actual act of drinking the alcohol that I want. It's the feeling, it's the ability to disconnect from my current problems, my current stress, my current day, maybe my lack of energy. Maybe I don't want to connect with other people for the rest of the day. Um, and alcohol is a good way to relax enough to be able to fulfill that disconnection at a mental level. So that that I think is actually accurate. That I'm not craving something like a drink. I'm craving the disconnection, the feeling that having that drink can provide. So it's an interesting point of view. That's it, though, for today's two powerful ideas. So discipline and cravings are the two ideas that we touched on this week. Uh, we're going to continue with the next chapter early next week. And I hope you all had a great week and a great Halloween. So I'm sorry if I feel like, or if I sound like crap. Ever since my kids started going to school, I've just been hopping from one sickness to the next. And I am just in the middle of what could turn out to be a pretty bad one. I've had a few times in this video where I've had to fight like a cough. I had to really push it down so that I'm not coughing into the mics of my AirPods. But anyway, everybody, take it easy. We'll talk to you all soon. Bye.